like second and third, and I knew both of our first and second shift. So I'd go in to start the night, and all the first shift people I knew were there because everybody drank back then. Nobody cared about nothing. So, about 10 o'clock, they're starting to fade. Next thing you know, 11 o'clock rolls around, the second shift comes in, and they're ready to party. So now I'm playing from about maybe 8 to 1, and it's nonstop. And, boy, I was drunk every night. And I just got behind that microphone and did my thing, drunk or not. It didn't matter, And I'll tell you, I used to get more money in tips than I ever got paid from the bar.
It just really surprises me because I think everybody I've talked to so far, like, I'm not necessarily that they were, like, planning to ever quit music, but most people were like, yeah, I've hit some points where I was going to say fuck it.
Yeah. I spent a time between the time when I stopped playing at Pep, I was like, well, before that, maybe a year or two, maybe a year and a half, maybe, just not playing out, but playing all the time.
Yeah.
I'd show up people's houses and just play in the house in the living room, and then that's when Destiny started, and that just rolled out, boy. Yeah. Man, that roll out.
Well, I've always known you were real different than most people, even other players and stuff. But
well, they're all they got some kind of agenda, and I never actually, even though we had all that professional stuff we did.
Your agenda was you just wanted to play.
I didn't I didn't never care.
Yeah.
That's why I can't get gigs because I don't want to go talk to real club owners. I just want to go up and play.
Yeah.
If I could just play one night for them, they'd be hiring me every night.
So you were just destined to, you were going to be a guitar player no matter what.
Yeah, well, I didn't even plan it. I started playing the guitar when I was 9. I took lessons until I was 15. And we put that band together in high school. I never actually stopped. So after like 40-some-odd years, finally one day you say, I don't care if I play out or not.
Yeah.
You do. You get to that point, you're just like...
Well, you seem pretty content with just playing at home now.
Yeah, I do all the songs I want. I got the drum machine going through headphones with the guitar and the voice because I can't disturb my neighbors. So, I set them up in a room where it's not near the other neighbors because I live in a patio home. There's this, house, everybody's connected. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that's the only good thing about like living where I live right now is that I can crank it.
I just don't.
Either that or I'm just an asshole.
It's like it's like I'm forever practicing for a gig that's probably never going to happen again.
You never know.
But people I throw out.
Well, that's not true. You're playing a gig on New Year's.
Yeah, and then I pass out cards to people once in a while. You never know, so I could end up getting a slew of calls one day.
I think once you're here for a little while and people are like, "Oh yeah, that's Steve," I think they're going to be like, "Yeah, he plays guitar. Let's hire him for our party."
Yeah, well,
I do. I think it'll happen.
The guy I give it to the other day, he works for the church and he's staying. We have a bunch of events and I'll have. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to start up again. I was like, right now it's like, hey, can you do this? I'm kind, nah, right now I just want to go home.
Yeah, you get to be a lot pickier and choosier. All right, what?
But the one thing I will tell you is the only thing I used to live a very public, loud life. Now I live a very, very quiet.
Yeah, I know. I hardly even talk to you.
And
you
I
don't
spend
even
a
live
lot
far
of
from
time.
me.
Well, the death of my wife kind of mellowed me right out.
That's why I don't give you too hard of a time.
And I just spend a lot of time alone, and I don't really mind.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
It's a big life adjustment.
It's not like, oh, you're just all screwed up, because I'll go out and hang out with people. I'm fine with it. I spend a lot of time by myself.
And I definitely understand, when my brother died, he just died. Yeah, and I just don't want people to bring it up.
Well, yeah. I don't care if they bring it up.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
About my wife, but it's not like I'm hiding in my house. Somebody says, we're going to go do this, and I go do it with them. I'm fine in the public. It's not like, oh, I can't see people. Or
but for me, it was more like when people are like, oh, you didn't call me. No, because I know what you want to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it.
Well, here's me. I spent my entire life with people around me, always. I was never alone. And now I'm alone, and I can just take advantage of that for a short while. I was sitting in the living room, and it's nothing stopping me from pulling out the acoustic that's laying on the couch and jam for about 2 hours. Nobody will care.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's gold. I miss my wife, but,
trying to find the silver lining.
I'll just play music, and because if she was still here, or somebody's like, I'll tell you, my daughter does not like me to do any music stuff. She hates it.
It's terrible.
She hates it. She doesn't like my singing. She don't like my playing.
It's crazy. Maybe it's just a generational thing because I grew up way before her. She's a lot younger than me.
Recordings of me. There's nothing wrong with what I do. She just doesn't like it.
I don't know why.
and she hates it.
You know, maybe it was just because because I'm a lot older than her. Maybe it was just because I was a kid, but you were young, and I got to go off and do all these like cool things when you were younger that she didn't get to
But she's
experience.
interested in it though. Like I can play and sing a song and it'll sound like something,
Mm-hmm.
no matter even if it's like a rough thing and I just learned. I can make it sound like something because the best thing when you're a pro musician is to learn how if you're making a mistake live and how to turn it into something that
Yeah,
people
that's true.
don't even know. And I can tell you in a gig if I made 5 mistakes of something no one knew
Yeah,
because they never picked up on it.
well, that's a good skill to
Because
have.
I would make it sound like it was supposed to be there,
Yeah.
And that's another advice I give to some. You make a mistake, ignore it, just keep going because
Well,
they're
yeah,
going to think it meant to be there.
Well, you got to push through because you're going to stand more of a chance for people to know you made a mistake if you fucking stop.
I hate to say this, but because people aren't stupid, but if you can play and people don't notice a lot of what's going on.
No.
You could say, "Oh my God, this is horrible," and they don't even know.
Yeah.
I played gigs sick as a dog, and no one knew.
Well, a lot of the times too, if you're doing like local scenery, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes you're just the background. You're just the background
Oh
music.
God, I saw a guy last night. I felt bad for him. The place I was at, and I mean, he was playing really loud for a solo.
I know, I heard all about
I
this.
mean, ridiculously. It was hard to make out what he was playing
Mm-hmm.
because it was that loud. It was very. He didn't have like a quality sound,
Mm-hmm.
and he had good equipment, but he was like, I feel like saying, dude, maybe you should do some adjustments,
Yeah.
But it wasn't my place. So there was a lot of people there. Seems like it was a hot spot in this town.
Well, it was Shiloh's.
Yeah, and I think it was a hot spot, for the for nightlife.
I didn't even really knew that they had live entertainment there.
Yeah, but it's like because there's another whole section where you go into a bar and it's like a half indoor outdoor place.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
it's,
yeah, I've been
it's a
there.
whole scene. But the problem is nobody was paying attention. This guy wasn't bad. He was kind of a hacker, but he wasn't bad, and he was doing good songs. But nobody really paid much attention to him.
Yeah.
He did a song he wrote about a tip jar and everything, and I thought it was pretty good. Nobody even gave him a look.
It's different here.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how it is now everywhere. If you play
Yeah.
like restaurants, nobody pays attention.
Well, that sucks.
But if you do something really stupid, they'll pay attention to that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
know?
Or if you play one fucking song they don't want to hear.
Oh, and they'll tell you.
All right,
But-
look, I have another question.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay. And I think I did already ask you all these, but I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah, it don't matter.
But the main question, the question that has become the defining question of my show is, if you could have a signature guitar, what would it be? And I don't want you to just be like, I'd go put down and pick up a 2021 Les Paul.
No, listen.
If you had a signature guitar, what would it be?
I've already had it, and
Oh,
it would
so
just,
it-
it
all
would
right.
still be that. It would be
think this
like
was your answer
a
last
late
time.
'70s Les Paul, and I had the old DiMaggio Super Distortion pickups, and I would have those in that for sure with a coil switch, just like it was.
That always sounded so good.
And that would definitely be my go-to. Maybe even a third pickup to fool around with.
Oh.
But I think 2 is enough for me, because
I don't know. You're not a gear person, but you are a fiddler.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, you are a fiddler because you sit down every time I'm like, here, play one of my guitars, and you're like knob turning and fucking with it.
Yeah.
You're a fiddler. You're not a gear guy, but
That's
you're
why
a
I
fiddler.
like playing acoustic music now. You kind of set it and forget it now.
Yeah,
I don't have to
kinda.
really do it as much.
I mean, there's still the little onboard EQ and stuff.
once you
but-
get what you want for a sound with an acoustic, you just play the hot hand and keep going. But with a Les Paul was different because you had, 2 different sets of tones and volume. So depending on songs, I mean, I used to do the Dire Straits song "Money for Nothing" years
Yeah,
ago,
that's a cool song.
and to get that sound, I used to turn the tone knob on, on the treble pickups. I would take the tone knob, turn it all the way off, and
Okay.
that's how I got with some distortion, and that's how I got that sound.
Yeah,
The tone knob was turned all the way down.
I like doing that.
Because the amp carried, I had that old Seymour Duncan, the convertible,
convertible.
head, which not many people have anymore.
I've never seen another one.
I saw one online for sale.
Well, I mean, I've seen them all. I meant playing one.
But it was weird because they had a top where you changed out AX7s, and they had different expression tubes with different, it was just weird, some good times playing out, man. And my advice to anybody is to just keep doing what you do. And, if you want to get somewhere, don't give up, man. Just keep plodding along, man. Sometimes it'll be dark. Sometimes it'll be great. Sometimes it'll just be cruising. But you're always playing. You might not want to edit this one now. It's pretty good.
No,
I made a little speech.
I'll leave it in.
I made a little speech. And what my point was, like I just said, is, just keep plodding along if you're a young musician.
Mhm.
Like I said, there'll be dark times, and
Definitely.
there'll be really good times, and then there'll be times where you're just cruising along with your gig. But the whole time, you're still playing.
Well, I think a thing to remember too is like when you have those dark times, that's not what you're doing it for. You're doing it for all those good times that you had.
But even so, the whole time going through anything that's horrible, your personal life, whatever, you're still playing.
Well, and that's something I learned recently was that like when my brother died, dude, I couldn't put my guitar down.
You just keep playing.
I just wanted to play.
That's what I'm saying. If you get something you want to forget about, you want to stay, just keep playing. Don't stop. And especially if you're in the business, you just want to keep trying to put things out there.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was never much into the business part of it. Even when I played solo, I had to call these people up and book the gigs. I didn't even want to do it. I hated it.
Yeah.
But because I'm not a guy that talks myself up, I let the music do the talk, and I do what I do on stage. People, oh, he's really good. But that's the point. I don't want to tell people that, you don't. I haven't got the kind of conceit to go up and tell people, I'm really great and I can do anything. It's like, then you come off sounding like a buffoon.
Yeah, like an asshole. Yeah.
So I said, yeah, I get a little act. Here's one of my cards. I was just never. I needed an agent, somebody or a producer, somebody that would actually speak for me because I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like they were doing me a favor instead of me and doing them a favor.
So out of all the bands that you've been in, which one was your favorite?
That's hard to say because they all had their unique qualities.
Okay.
Like Destiny was what we were doing. It was a function band, and we played people's parties, and that was really cool. The Night Shifters was just a band we threw together playing classic rock, and that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bajas was great because I got to travel everywhere. Some of the music we played, I didn't really care for. I
didn't like it.
Like we used to say, I'm not really a parrot head, but I play one on TV.
They were like a
joke.
party. They were like a party band.
Yeah, but that's what I used to
For
say
older people.
because it was a parrot head type band for all the Buffett people. And I'd say I'm not really a parrot head, but I play one on TV. That was a quote we used all the time.
Yeah, but when you really think back to it, like, which one's the one you miss the most? Like, which one
Well,
was?
Destiny was the one we had the most fun with.
That's always going to be the most memorable one for me.
It was so fun. Even though we went out, it was kind of cheesy. We went out with black tuxes and all this other, and we wore different kinds of cummerbunds and tie. It was
I
like
only
our
think
signature.
I only think it seems cheesy because of the time we're in now. Because at the time, it didn't seem cheesy.
I mean, we were doing songs that were real cheesy songs, doing them because that's what you did at those gigs,
Yeah, but you guys, look, I got to see Destiny that other people didn't get to see because I went to practices.
How many times can you play the Hully Gully, for the
Yeah.
wedding without losing your mind?
Yeah.
Chicken dance, Hully Gully, you name it. We did all the old time stuff, but the only good thing was you did that at the beginning. Then when the wedding formalities were over, you could play the rock songs that you liked doing, and then it turned into a real party. People be out in the parking lot snorting their coke or whatever they do, coming in, drinking, partying. You know what I mean? It was the 80s.
A break on through does not condone the
No,
using
but
of
that's
drugs.
not. That's my point. Was that's what people did back then. So by that second half of the wedding party, it was like a rock gig.
Oh, yeah.
So we could do both. So we were in the perfect wheelhouse to be that kind of band.
So are you saying that in your extensive, I mean, you've had a very extensive musical life. It's Destiny. Destiny's
That
got
was
to
the
be,
most fun I ever had.
It's got to be the most memorable one.
Because I had a lot of fun gigs as a solo gig, but I had no one to share them with.
Yeah.
Like we all enjoyed the same stuff, and we had so many laughs on stage, even though we were professional business. because we all liked each other.
I think a big thing too was that you guys were all really good friends.
We all liked each other.
Well, you guys were all really good friends. I remember going to hang out with these guys, even when it wasn't a band situation.
No, we always hung out together.
You know, like going to Lincoln's house, and jumping in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
And like Paul would come over, and Ricky would come down.
Yeah,
and like
because we all liked each other a
you
lot.
were friends. It
Well,
wasn't like the Bajas might have been technically a little more